Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Talks about they indicted. The president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock and restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask a question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to answer.
The question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming-
So he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now.
That's our political system right now. Hi, everyone. Patrick here in the chair. Joe is off busy doing what Joe needs to do, so I am plugging in for him today. We started with that clip because that is occurring today in a hearing. House officials, AG Pam Bondi. And this is the trash that they put out there. This is the political theater that they do. This is what they do every which way. Whoever's in charge, if the commies are in charge, if the right's in charge, these hearings go every which way. It's always the same garbage. Them throwing out sound bites that each media side picks up, throws it back out there to their base. Everyone laughs about it behind the scenes, and us, the American people, get shafted. Us, the American people, continue to get no answers anywhere. Us, the American people, continuously get stepped on and stepped over. For who? Special interests? Illegal aliens? Seems like anybody under the sun other than just us Americans who just want answers. It's not that hard. You know, we want answers on what happened in Butler. We want answers with the Epstein list. We want answers from the 2020 election. We want answers about Charlie Kirk. We just keep getting stepped on. And then you get this stuff that happens in our capital. The political theater kicks up. They yell at each other, bop, 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 conversation behind the scene. But guess what? Who's still in jail? Tina Peters. Who still hasn't done a damn thing for Tina Peters? Right? She is still locked up in jail, no matter what President Trump says, no matter what Attorney AG Bondi, right? No matter who says what, Hamid Dillon, no matter what, Tina is still in jail. How come? We have this stuff happening. Get our base all, get our sides all up in arms, get us all emotionally charged. At the end of the day, nothing changes. At the end of the day, nothing benefits the American people yet again. So why not just burn it all down? At this point, that can be a logical discussion to be had. Because every which way you look at it, it's the American people that don't get anything from our government. And yet the government continuously takes from us. The Boston Tea Party was over a 2% tax. Like, look where we've fallen in 250 years. Look what us as Americans continuously accept from our political leaders over and over and over and over again. We're conditioned this way. We have been conditioned to accept this bullshit. It's their script. People listen to their script. They play their parts. You know, because at the end of the day, right, no matter what, at the end of the day, none of them ever get held accountable. They go to their gated communities, their private security, their multi-million-dollar homes, their personal assistants that do all their day-to-day stuff. right? Because they never associate amongst us average Joes every day. They never walk into Sam's Club at 10 o'clock on a Saturday to make sure they're beating that rush. You know, they're not hustling home, getting home at 7 o'clock to just see their kid for 15 minutes before they go to bed. Don't tell me that they're working all these hours. I doubt it. If they're working all these hours and this is the production we get, the return on investment is shit. But that's our political leaders today, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Left, right, commie, non-commie, America first, America last, Israel first, Israel second, Israel I don't know. No matter where you are, right? No matter what, the American citizen at the end of the day is at the bottom of the totem pole, even though we pay most of our money to this institution that continually takes from us. We support it. We support it. With our tax dollars, we support this bullshit every day because we've been conditioned this way. And especially people on the right have been conditioned this way. Not only are we busy, right? Let's be honest here. People on the right typically have more going on in their lives than those on the other side. Typically, not all the time, but mostly, yes. We have families that we love to see with. We're usually working a whole bunch of hours to make money, right? We have careers. We have family. Like, we have things that are going on in our lives that devote the majority of our time. Well, those on the commie side really don't. The only thing they have is their Marxist indoctrination and their communist manifesto that they follow. Right? To give state everything. Right? That's basically it. That's what their focus is. So, like, if that means taking their kids to an Antifa rally, they're like, hey, let's go. I'll drive the carpool today. Giddy up. Giddy up in the Telluride. Right? Like, that's what they'll do. They'll organize, hey, I'll watch your kids. We're going to the Antifa rally in downtown, but, you know, pile in. And they do this shit. They bring their kids to the Antifa rally. Like, who's crazy enough to do that? You know who. You know, and we know if we organize, we protest, we're the ones that will then get bagged up, regardless if we're doing everything on the up and up. Like, we learned the hard way with the J6ers, right? People just thrown in jail that were just walking around, not even inside the Capitol building. Because the DOJ under the Biden administration, under the commies, didn't play. See, the DOJ can get things done when the DOJ wants to get things done, right? It's just a matter of what their priorities are. They've shown they can get things done. Hey, this DOJ under Trump have gotten things done. You haven't paid attention to any of that? Take a look what happened in October of 24. And then look what payments were issued by January through March of 25. Just do research into that and see how quickly the DOJ threw its weight behind something, right? So the DOJ can get things done. Us, the American people, the everyday average Joes, continue to suffer under the boot of this system we are in. And it doesn't stop. That clip you just saw is a prime example of the garbage and nonsense that they do to distract us, to make it believe they're fighting for us. In the end, nothing ever gets accomplished. Tina is still in jail. Which brings me to this post that the real Tina Peters put out. Okay. Colorado AG opposes release of 70-year-old Tina Peters despite fifth assault in prison. The state of Colorado has chosen to argue procedural technicalities as the basis for opposing a petition for review of bond. Do you hear that? They are nitpicking at every chance to make sure this 70-year-old Gold Star mother, patriot, stays in jail. They do anything they can, this state of Colorado. Okay? The state of Colorado has chosen to argue procedural technicalities as the basis for opposing a petition for review of bond. The Colorado Attorney General's office has filed a response opposing the release on bond of Tina Peters, the former Mesa County clerk, despite a fifth assault against her just 4 days after the Court of Appeals heard oral arguments in her case. On 18th January 2026, 70-year-old nonviolent offender Tina Peters was assaulted by a 29-year-old inmate currently serving a 6-year sentence for aggravated assault. In response, prison officials placed Peters in solitary confinement while returning her assailant to the general prison population. This sent a message that any inmate who assaults Ms. Peters will not be held accountable, Peters' legal team stated in their January 30th petition for bond pending appeal. Rather than address the escalating safety crisis, the Attorney General's office filed a response arguing the petition is procedurally defective. The trial court's original denial of bond was based on Peters' public statements criticizing Mesa County's computer voting systems, speech protected by the First Amendment. Court transcripts show the trial judge explicitly cited disagreement with Peters' characterization of election security vulnerabilities as grounds for denying bond. True statement. Peters' appeal challenges 8 counts of conviction with oral arguments heard by the Colorado Court of Appeals on January 14th, 2026. The court extended briefing deadlines by 21 days on January 29th, meaning Peters faces a minimum of 63 additional days in an environment her attorneys describe as unsafe unless bond is granted. The January 18th assault marks the 5th attack against Peters since her incarceration at La Vista Women's Correctional Facility in Pueblo. Level 3 security, by the way, max security site for a non-violent offender. That's where Tina is. Each assault underscores the failure of prison officials to protect a senior citizen convicted of non-violent offenses. Tina Peters was never a flight risk and poses no danger to the community. She was released on a $25,000 bond throughout the trial proceedings without incident. The only thing that has changed is that she exercised her constitutional right to appeal and paid for it with her freedom and her safety. The state's response makes no mention of the January 18th assault and offers no alternative measures to ensure Peters' safety while her appeal is pending. Peters' attorneys are seeking immediate reinstatement of the $25,000 bond under which she was released during trial, arguing she meets all statutory and constitutional criteria for release pending appeal. Contact media at thetruthmatters.us. To support Tina Peters with her past and ongoing legal expenses, please visit tinapeters.us. We sent a fax blast out this morning. We posted about it on our Facebook as well. Yeah. This is the political theater that leads to this happening that does get no resolution. Instead, Tina herself is used as political theater by these people. Everywhere. All while they high-five each other and make sure each other is protected in the back rooms. It's the truth. And we have an episode coming out with B probably this weekend that will be exposing some of these puppeteers behind the scenes as well. So make sure you check that out. That will be coming as well this weekend. Okay, and we'll be cranking those out more frequently as we're going forward, just so you guys hear me on that. Okay, so look forward to some really dynamite content coming up. But that's the state of Colorado, right? The state of Colorado is legitimately punishing a 70-year-old grandmother on a technicality to make sure she doesn't have the opportunity to post bond to actually get out of jail finally. It's like they're encouraging more assaults. They want her to fall victim within the jail. They look to punish you out here in Colorado. We're going to go through a whole little segment coming up real quick about what it's like out here in Colorado. Not to mention the Christopher Gregory case that we're working on as well. Joe's bringing that to you. We have the documents. They're here, right? I'm not going to try and pretend like I'm reading through these right now. I am not reading through these on the show. We are getting them broken down. We are getting them. We will be getting them online. We will be getting more breakdowns of them. I promise you, there is a lot here. It goes through the Supreme Court. It goes to Weiser, goes to Polis, all tied together. This state is run like the Soviet Union. Dissent and they crush you. Speak out against the state, you go away. Plain and simple. That's how they handle it, right? Because the commies can't handle the truth. Commies can't handle facts. Because once the facts hit, their narratives go away and it crumbles away. So what they have to do is you always have to double down. I've learned this. they always double down. It doesn't matter, right? It just straight up doesn't matter. So you have to fight fire with fire. And that's what President Trump is doing out here in Colorado. If you take a look, the Centennial out here in Colorado just published this article that the Trump administration plans to hold back grant money for Colorado and other Democratic-led states. Yeah, about time. About time, President Trump. You need to start fighting fire with fire. You need to hurt them where it hurts, in the pocketbooks, because their policies bankrupt their states, and they get bailed out every time by the American taxpayer. It is bullshit. Enough is enough. Cut their funding, make them pay the price. Okay, us Americans are tired of getting bent over and our pockets emptied while these blue-led states get to pass all these bullshit laws that actually contradict federal law, that actually contradict the Constitution and the rights of our American people. Legitimately, blue states are doing that with their sanctuary policies, but they're allowed to do this. And they rob from us. They take our money and then give it to illegal immigrants in forms of health care, housing, food vouchers, education. You know, you keep hitting them off. How about we take care of our first, okay? America first. America only. Okay, we got to really start considering that America only push. I'm a strong believer in that, okay? You go back to President Washington, inaugural address. He was a big believer in A, staying out of the two-party system, B, being an isolationist, okay? He believed in that. But the way our government has grown and has taken more of special interest and foreign nations' actual concerns and placing them above the American people, we get this whole cluster that we have. And you live it to the end, you wind up with the infighting, state between federal government between state, right? There's no unifying anything anymore. So blue states are refusing to abide by Trump. Trump's looking to hit back them by pulling back their sanctuary their funding. Some of it is because of their sanctuary policies. So a quick summary of that article is that the Trump administration plans to withhold federal grant money from Colorado and other Democratic-led states that have not complied with new immigration enforcement requirements or have sanctuary policies. That is completely fair. If you're not following federal policies, you do not get federal funds. That's how I've always believed it to be explained. When Biden was in charge and federal missions came down from the federal side, if you did not follow what the federal government did, they withheld their fundings. It was plain and simple. It's been going back and forth like this for ages. That's why the drinking age in every state's 21, right? The drinking age is not a federal law. It's actually a state-by-state law that is controlled by the federal government that put pressure on each state to make sure the drinking age was 21. Otherwise, the federal government threatened to withhold highway funding, right? So, don't say this stuff cannot be done. It simply can be done just when they want it to and how they want it to be done, right? So the funding at risk includes billions in grants for law enforcement, emergency management, housing, transportation, education, and other programs administered by the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and other agencies. It makes perfect sense because if you're DHS and you're putting ICE out on the streets and those states are now hindering those ICE agents from doing their jobs, yeah, you need to penalize them for that. You need to arrest the leaders that are actually giving those orders, and you need to withhold federal funds, and you need to arrest the protesters that are physically preventing and physically harassing federal agents on the ground. Period. Okay? Don't tell me you're a legal observer. A legal observer is not. What do you do when you observe? Observe means watching. Does it mean yelling? Does it mean blowing whistles? Does it mean tracking license plate numbers? Does it mean publicizing officers' names on websites to dox them? That's not observing. Okay, that's not an observer. So you lock those people up. Okay, that is an insurgency within your own city. That's an insurgency fighting against the federal government. You lock them up. Because if our side was doing this, you better believe we'll be going to jail if we were videotaping. Okay, fun fact for you. When the Democrats come back into power and they unleash the full fury of the federal government against our side, which you know they will, okay, if you haven't been paying attention, listen to how all these politicians are talking, okay? They have true disdain for our way of life. It's not even hidden anymore. So when the commies come back into power, they're going to trample on our constitutional rights because they believe illegals have constitutional rights. So they're going to the illegals got their constitutional rights trampled on, so we can get our constitutional rights trampled on. And they're going to come after us. Debanking, deplatforming, taking over your homes, throwing you in jail. Watch, guarantee it will happen. Because they play to win, and they're not gonna piss away this last opportunity they're gonna get. Okay? Biden was the warm-up. Remember that. He was the warm-up. These politicians now are not hiding the fact what they want to do. And we're going to play some clips later in the show. They are not hiding what they want to do. The justice system is not hiding what it does. The judges in the court systems are revealing themselves what they are. Do you think as a white male or a Republican that goes to court in the future, you think you have any type of fair shot? You really think you're going to have a fair shot? You better wake up. You better get educated. I thought I had a fair shot. I don't have a fair shot. It is stacked against me, even though I have the nuts in the case, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Their side knows it. My side, we all know it. But the judges are activists that are there to protect their side, not to administer fair rule of law. And until the states legislatures start impeaching state-appointed judges that do this, and until Congress starts impeaching federal judges that behave this way, nothing is going to change. Everyone says the courts are hijacked, but yet no one does anything about it. You have law groups that fight these battles in courts. Yes, they're fighting the good battle. They're making money on it also. Don't get that twisted. Right? There's money to be made from these cases. So they're doing good work and making money. Yes. But the judgeships, those that are in charge are still there. So even if that law group wins, that's great. That judge is still there that is going to trample on the Constitution, trample on who's walking in front of them based on the color of their skin and their beliefs. And regardless of the facts of the case, those judges need to be held accountable. And until that stuff starts happening, it doesn't matter because our courts are hijacked. And it's just a roll of the dice. Just a roll of the dice, whether or not you get lucky to get a fair judge or a fair hearing. And that shouldn't be the case. But that's how far this country has fallen. Okay? So, because of our sanctuary status out here in Colorado, Trump is looking to pull some funding. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem stated the administration will use every tool available to ensure compliance, including withholding grants from non-cooperative jurisdictions. The move is part of a broader strategy to pressure blue states and cities into assisting with mass deportation, ending sanctuary policies, and cooperating with federal immigration enforcement. If you're not going to partner with the federal government, why should you be entitled to federal funds? Why should you be entitled to my money? Why should I be entitled to your money? Because that's how the system works, and we're just a victim of it. Colorado officials and Democrats criticized the plan as coercive and unlawful, with Governor Jared Fatboy Polis and AG Phil Weasel Weiser vowing to fight any attempt to withhold funds in court. Potential impact. Loss of hundreds of millions in annual federal grants could affect Colorado's public safety, disaster response, housing programs, and more. Yeah, all right. Most of those programs are in the shitter anyway right now, if you guys pay attention to the budget out here in Colorado. We went from a budget surplus, I believe around 2020, 2021, into hundreds of millions of deficit within 6 years. Who has controlled the state the entire time? Polis, Democrats. So you tell me how their policies work economically. We need to help everybody. We need this. We need money. You pissed through a shit ton of money. What are you talking about? You clowns, you give it all away. Why don't you do a good audit of the marijuana money out here in Colorado? All right, let's do an audit of the marijuana money. Where is that money gone? All right, it's supposed to be funding education, right? Bullshit. It goes into building schools, but not actually supplying the schools with the resources they need to actually serve the communities, right? So where is all this money? We have schools that are empty. We have schools being built that aren't funded. Where is this money going? Where's the lotto money going out here? Like, please, the weed business is booming. Okay? People go into the weed shop and drop easy $100 a trip. Okay? Don't pretend like that doesn't happen. Okay, you got the locals here that do it. You get the ones from out of state that come here. Oh, party time, right? So where's all this money? Governor Polis. Where is it? Anyone talk about it? Anyone want to actually go through the books out here? How much of that money got used to cover illegal expenses, sir? Healthcare. By the way, I keep getting bills from By the way, medical insurance is bullshit because it doesn't cover a damn thing. And I paid a bill upon my visit in August. They said, hey, this is what you owe. Paid them. I just got another bill in the mail from that same visit. And I owe 400 something more dollars because they ran through some more coding to find more ways to extract money from me. Like legitimately, I was at the office and I paid my bill there. Literally paid it right there. It says it on the bill that I got in the mail the other day. Paid my bill on the spot, $193, I think it was. Boom, here you go. When I had Lyme disease, when I first started working here. I just got another bill because I had to do all these blood work. I just got another bill because they ran through. Okay, got to extract. He's got insurance, so we know where he is. He's got a number. We can find him. We can get more money from him. Code this way, code this way, code this way. Send it off. 5 months later, I got another bill. I just got another bill in mail for like I wish I brought it with me. It's like $300-400. Couldn't believe it. I was so pissed the other night when I saw it. I'm like, what the hell is this? My wife tells me because my wife's in healthcare. Like, yeah, they went through their billing coding again to find more ways, and she's right. And it happened to my wife too when we had our baby. When we had our boy. Let's take that name out, Damon. When we had our boy, we paid. And then almost a year, it was right before his 1 year birthday, we were going to have a party. And right before his 1 year birthday party, we got another bill in the mail and it was about another $8,000. I'm like, how is this possible? And my wife explained it to me. This is how it works. They run it through to make sure they get more coding onto your bills to make sure they get more money of yours. And they need that money because it needs to supplement for the ones that aren't paying into the system. And we know where that's coming from. So not only do we get bent over on the taxes, we get bent over on the insurance, and then we get bent over on the bill. Okay? It is completely out of control. And it's worse in blue. Like, did you guys see Sam Darnold, the guy played for the Seattle Seahawks, played in the Super Bowl? He actually is losing money for playing and winning the Super Bowl this past Sunday because of the tax structure out in California. And you tell me these policies work? Are you guys crazy? Mathematically, communist policies don't work. It sounds good because it says, oh, tax the rich. And, you get the idiot have-nots that have been programmed since going through the indoctrination camps in school. Like, oh, tax the rich. Oh, they got everything. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. You can't actually run a fiscal responsible government if you just simply want to keep spending other people's money. And your answer is to tax this, tax that. That doesn't work. But that's what the system is, and you know who gets bent over? 2 thumbs up, point them inward. This guy. We all do. Okay? We all do. And then if you have a problem in a communist state and you address it, they come after you. Right? So we're going to play this clip. This is out of the Colorado Department of Agriculture employee. This guy blew the whistle on money being spent through federal grants for DEI practices. Cut 4.
Everyone, it's Rich, the Colorado Department of Agriculture whistleblower. I'm going to give you an update. I just got off a Zoom meeting with the employer, Colorado Department of Agriculture, and have been informed that I am placed on leave. And it was really interesting because it wasn't even 5 minutes before they had blocked my access to all of my work emails, my work phone, etc. I asked for my counsel to be present, and they denied the counsel. They actually, after I had asked for him to be present, told me no, that this was an internal meeting only. I also had tried to record the meeting, and they told me they stopped the recording of the meeting as well. Fortunately, I had a backup. I was recording it on my phone and also screen recording it. So I'll be able to use that as evidence. But this is the retaliation that is happening from the Colorado Department of Agriculture for blowing the whistle on federal dollars being used to fund DEI initiatives at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. I am now on administrative leave.
Love that guy. We reached out to him. We're going to have him on the show coming up to have a one-on-one with Joe to talk about what's going on. I reached out to him this morning. We spoke. Well, we exchanged messages and then took over. But yeah, he'll be coming on the show. But that's what they do out here in Colorado, dude. They punish you. And good for that guy keeping the receipts, dude. Because that's what you have to do to these communists. You have to keep the receipts. And Colorado is a one-party state. If you know what that means, use it. Okay, but you see how they act? They knew you recorded? No, we're going to shut it down. Right? Listen to how they act because they know what they say is illegal. They know how they behave is illegal. They know if they give you any evidence, it will get to the courts eventually somewhere along the lines and may get exposed. So they look to silence you every step of the way. Good for that guy standing up. Good for him blowing the whistle. Good for him keeping the receipts. And let's get some shit done out here. Because this state is corrupt as hell. It's disgusting how this state is run, top to bottom. It's ideological bullshit that runs this state, and they think they could treat anybody that thinks differently than them. They could treat them any way they want, fire them, degrade them, put them out, demean them, act like they don't exist, act like they don't have families that they're supporting. Okay, that's what these communists do. That's why it needs to be burned down. You can't fix this. Okay, the only way this gets fixed if you have mass arrest all at once. And you get these communists, you got them linked to the fraud, you have them linked to the election shit that they've been pulling out for decades now. Right? Because at the end of the day, if the election system isn't fixed, it's not going to matter. The slow takeover will continue. Right? It will. It's just, this is how this state is run. It is so corrupt. It is so corrupt. And the people out here don't know anything about it because guess what? The local media doesn't report it. Why? Because guess what? They're corrupt. They're in bed with them. Right? So this whole communist regime out here is insulated by the communist news network. And I don't mean CNN. I mean all the local affiliates out here. Okay, it took a guy retiring from what? Channel 7 to do a piece on Cherry Creek? Because he's retiring. He doesn't give a shit anymore. Where are you, Kyle Clark? How come you're not reporting about Cherry Creek school districts and the superintendent stepping down in disgrace and his wife, the head of HR, being placed on leave? All public knowledge. Why aren't you asking the hard questions there, sir? Why aren't you talking to the parents of that community and get their opinions on the TV about what's going on? Why? Because it's bad for business. And don't worry, I'll do your job here for you. I got Cherry Creek covered on this segment, buddy. Don't worry about it. If you want to use some of these clips, though, feel free. Why don't you do your job, you bum? Every one of you local news anchors that talk about, representing the people, that we bring news to you here in Colorado. Why don't you expose the corruption within your local education system, which most of you, I guarantee, probably send your kids or relatives attend because it's the Cherry Creek School District out here. And if you live in the Denver metro area and you have a significant job like you do, you probably send your kids to Creek. Or you don't and you send them to a private institution and you don't talk about it because you know what's going on at the Creek School District. And you know talking about it's bad for business. So why don't you look yourself in the mirror and do what's right? Mass accountability, burning it down, needs to happen in order to restore this country to where it was. And if it doesn't happen, this country will be taken over. My kid will be a victim his entire life, all because of what he looks like and what he represents and probably how he's going to think. Because we're going to instill him with principles and a pride and love of this country. Regardless of the bullshit and corruption that we see, I still believe in the greatness of this country and the soul of this country, and it's going to rise above. And if it doesn't, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure my kid is prepared to meet that world. But we need to do everything we can to fight against it, call it out every step of the way. And if you have the means to fight it legally, get it into the courts, get it onto social media, get it out there, because that's the only way things will change, because the local media will not do the job here. Because the local media is an arm of the communist regime that's in charge. So, with that being said, thank God we have a great network out here called the Colorado Parent Advocacy Network. The founder of that network is Lori. Lori is a great woman. Lori works hard. Lori has been a guest on our show, and we're going to have her on again. Lori helped me personally. Lori was the one that helped me get connected with America First Legal to take on my lawsuit against Cherry Creek School District. So if you have the means to stop by the Colorado Parent Advocacy Network X page, connect with Lori, because they can use some support. Okay, I'm hearing finances are a little tight. They are in the middle of, I believe, facilitating 5 different lawsuits out here, though. So she's fighting her ass off. And she could use some support. So I'm just throwing that out there for now. We'll have more on CPAN to follow up. But she's out there just going through work. And CPAN put up this post, parent alert about Cherry Creek School District. Take a look. Let's be clear about what happened. An adult male teacher invited middle schoolers ages 11, 12, and 13 to his classroom during lunch to discuss LGBTQ plus content and watch short films without parental knowledge or permission. Oh, and there it is. Denver Channel's tagged that. CBS News Colorado's tagged that. Secrecy plus adults plus kids equals serious red flags. Yeah. Yeah. So she put that out there. And then she also sent a letter to the Cherry Creek School Board about this behavior. And it's dated February 11th, 2026. Student, I'm going to just bring it up on my computer, guys. Give me a second here. Dear members of this Board of Education and Interim Superintendent Perry, right? Because Chris Smith, he doesn't even deserve the title. He stepped down and retired in disgrace. Okay, that's what that school board allows. I am writing on behalf of the Colorado Parent Advocacy Network to formally express our significant concerns regarding a recently confirmed practice at Campus Middle School involving the facilitation of discussions with minor students about LGBTQ plus books and films during the school day without parental notice or consent. It reads, through a Colorado Opens Record Act CORA request, we have now verified that during morning announcements, middle school students ages 11 through 13 were invited to attend a lunchtime meeting in a male teacher's classroom to discuss LGBTQ plus books and movies and to view short films. This meeting occurred during school hours and was promoted directly to students without advance written notice to parents or an opportunity to review or opt their child out. The Spectrum Group will be meeting this Wednesday, January 28th, in Dr. Phelan's room 108. We'll be talking about LGBTQ plus movies, books and movies, and watching some short films together. If you're part of Spectrum or interested in being an ally, you're welcome to join us. We hope to see you there. For the board's reference, we have included a link below to an audio recording of the morning announcements as broadcast to students over multiple days. This recording reflects the exact language used in promoting the meeting to minor students. This practice raises serious concerns about Cherry Creek School District Policy JLDAC, screening testing of students and treatment of mental disorders, as well as state and federal student privacy protections. Policy JLDAC is explicit that students may not be required or encouraged in a school-sponsored context to participate in any survey, analysis, evaluation, or activity intended to reveal information related to sexual behavior or attitudes, mental or psychological conditions, or other protected information without prior written parental consent. The policy further requires written notice at least 2 weeks in advance, transparency regarding the content, purpose, and nature of the activity, disclosure of who will have access to the information, and a clear method for parents to grant or deny permissions. Okay, and it goes on. Lori does a great job of putting this all together. But yeah, and look right here, they'd say if you're a part of Spectrum or interested in being an ally, the language that they use. Right? They are teaching our kids interested in being an ally. Why are we talking about this and using this vernacular at school? Why don't we say, hey, can you read at grade level? Do you want to read at grade level? What do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a social justice warrior? You want to be an activist but don't have the ability to read? Or do you want opportunities in your life? Because that's what's going on in the public school systems. They are working about grooming these kids and making them these social justice warriors and these project activists instead of actually empowering the kid to become a critical thinker and learner that will become a productive member of society in the future. That's what they're doing. Okay? And they're using this language to mold our kids, to mold the kids in Cherry Creek School District, to mold the kids at Campus Middle School. That's my former job. That's my former work spot. That's where I used to work, Campus Middle School. That's what's going on there. And now listen to the announcement that you play. You could hear this audio. You could hear what's being played to the students over the PA system. Let's play it.
This Wednesday, January 28th, Dr. Amidst, room 108. We will be talking about LGBTQ plus voter families and watching some short films together. If you're part of the sector or interested in being an ally, you're welcome to join us. We hope to see you there.
So yeah, that's going over the PA system. And from my history, I would say that'd probably be a morning announcement. So that's when the kids are walking from inside the building to their first period class. So they get a brief of what's going on in the building and boom, they're making sure that's a priority to make sure the kids hear about that. But they don't make sure the parents know about it. Why? Why? Because they don't believe the parents have a right to know. This is what we want to do with your kids. Which is funny because as a dean, I had to call parents all the time, whether or not, like if I had a kid in my office and the kid was, let's say, a witness to something or just wanted to report something or whatever, I had to call that parent to let that parent know, hey, I had your kid in my office and this is what we talked about for whatever. I had to do that. But they could go to a male teacher's room, talk about LGBTQ stuff, watch movies, what clips, who knows what. But the parents don't need to know about it? How's that possible? Because it promotes the ideas. It promotes what they want, right? It promotes the degradation of our youth, which is what these school districts want. These school districts are not worried about doing what's right by kids. What these school districts are worried about is indoctrinating their kids and then protecting that indoctrination at all costs. So it has nothing to do with what's best for kids or what's best for the community. It's about protecting their own. Tell me I'm wrong. Anyone from Cherry Creek School District want to give me a call? Patrick@untamednation.com. Sorry, shoot me an email if you think I'm wrong. Anyone on that board? Don't forget, you also have a civil rights complaint that's pending against the school district as well. So this school district really seems like it's doing a lot of good stuff here. Also, this past Friday, same middle school that has the LGBTQ AI Ally Club meeting had a walkout this past Friday. Take a look at what that produced. That's hard to watch for me because it's heartbreaking. Those kids have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. They're going to be the ones at the other side of the tip of this spear in 2 to 6 years. They're the ones that are going to be getting caught up from the other side on this. And this goes on during the school day, mind you. You had about 500 kids out there during the school day with signs. And if you heard some of that, it was like, FIs, FIs, no one's illegal, right? All the talking points. They're out there doing that during the school day. No one's the adult in the room. Because my question is, what happens if Trump supporters want to have a protest? What happens if they wanted a pro-ICE protest? Would that be allowed? Why not? Would it? I doubt it would. In fact, I know they wouldn't allow that. I know they wouldn't allow it. They'll say, oh, it hurt feelings. Kids won't feel safe. Yeah, well, what about the kids that support ICE? And how about some of the kids that go to that school, their parents work for ICE? You think those kids felt safe that day? No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No, go sit over there. Go sit over there. You're not the golden cow. You're not the golden calf. Go sit over there. Yeah, man, this is the public school system. This is out here. This is Cherry Creek. This is big money. This is big money over here. It's crazy. And take a look at this picture. This is one of the posters that they had. If you take a look, thanks for flipping that, Damon. I forgot about it. Thank you, sir. But if you see it, FU, anti-fascist, it's okay to punch Nazis, make America united again against MAGA. You got your LGBTQ flag up on top. You got an F Trump up there, right? These are middle school kids that had these signs at school, but it's all good because it's their First Amendment. But I guarantee if you walk in there with a pro-ICE sign as a middle school kid, you're going to get a 5-piece plus pending expulsion for walking in with hate crime. Make that make sense. If you have free speech for one, you need to have free speech for all. If you're going to allow the kids that are against ICE to do this, you better have the same spot given to pro-ICE kids. Otherwise, it's slanted. Otherwise, you're not a public education system. You're not. Okay, if you're a real public education system, you step back and you let it happen. You just let it happen. Yeah, they could do that. You could do that. You just let it happen and then let people police themselves. But no, the districts come in, they put their finger on the thumb, and they actually push out the kids that love this country. And then the other group, they program to hate this country. So basically what you have in the public school system is just a system designed to produce kids to hate America. That's what it does. You're seeing the results of it every day. You see the results on the streets, right? From the 20-year-olds. The college, I got a degree, but I can't get a job. I got a degree in sociology, but I can't get a job. I got a degree in digital marketing, but I can't get a job. I got a degree in real estate, can't get a job. Yeah, shit, it's hard. I get it. Got to make it find a way. Otherwise, you wind up becoming dependent on government dime, and you push for a socialist agenda, and you push for communism because you're brainwashed to believe that system works well. No, those systems actually work to the deaths of millions of people. Millions of people die in those systems. Because ultimately, you can't just keep spending someone else's money. So and collectively, you need to take away people's lands too, right? So you gotta forcibly take land, forcibly move people, forcibly redistribute. And at the top, the ones that are behind the scenes doing all this, right? The Singhams, the Soros, the Patrickoffs, the Sir Robert Cohens, right? They're never going to get touched by any of this because they live separately from the regular Joes like we do, right? They live separately from us. You'll never see these clowns driving their own car or walking in the street, going to the supermarket. Got to run the 7-Eleven at 8 o'clock at night because you need milk, right? They don't live like all of us. They're not out like that. So they never have to deal with what's going on the street level. And all they do is just make the street level worse for us because they don't like us. That's the truth of it. That's where we are. And the education system keeps cranking out people that hate America, hate white people, hate white males. Believe you can do anything you want to white males because it's payback for what apparently what my ancestors did. My ancestors were Irish. They were slaves too. Shit. You guys ever know where the term redneck came from? Look it up. The Irish slaves down south. Where the term redneck came from. I don't know. Yeah, well, take a look. Like, wake up, people. Wake up. Kyle woke up this morning. Kyle Serapin, he was feeling frosty this morning. He put this message up this morning. We ain't running our way out of this, y'all. Plan accordingly. I don't disagree with my man Kyle here, right? The election systems are not being handled. They can be handled. There's a pathway for it to be handled. I see the steps that it could be. And then possibly we could vote our way out of it. But if that election system is not fixed or met with federal urgency and federal reinforcements to root out the fraud and corruption and control of our election system, it's just gonna accelerate our decline, right? So like, we don't get the election fraud right, we don't root it out, we don't take care of Dominion, we don't unmask everything that has taken place over the past 20 years of our election systems and turn the elections back over to the people. We definitely ain't voting our way out of it because we're not going to, right? And Kyle's right. I'm just going one step further from Kyle's like, hey, we got to fix the election systems too. And if we don't fix that election system, it's a wrap, buddy. It is a wrap. We have idiots in charge. We have people that put special interest above all else. We have those in charge that put illegal immigrants over Americans, veterans, right? We have all that going on. And then you get the people that are in charge, right? They don't really understand the levers of power that they have. You legitimately have idiots in charge. Or you have people in charge that are controlled by their special interests. So as an American, you look around like, holy shit, what is happening? Take a look at this clip. This clip is a beaut. This is a clip about Sheriff Gary McFadden out of Charlotte. Listen to this one.
If I were to classify your position as the highest law enforcement officer in the county, would that be a fair description?
That's correct.
Okay. And as such, you made reference earlier that you're a constitutional office. My colleague made reference that there are constitutional divisions amongst responsibilities between us and you. What branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware of how many branches of government there are?
No.
Okay. For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
Okay. You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive.
Yeah. Can you believe you just heard that? And he's sitting there very confident, holding himself together, sitting very confident. I work for the people of Shaw. I work for Member and Carey. I work for the judicial branch. He's a sheriff. And he doesn't know what are the 3 branches he's a part of. Do you make the laws? Do you judge the laws? Or do you enforce the laws, Sheriff? My Lord. And this is what really, gets me so frustrated, because Joe and Ann, if you tuned in yesterday, they were talking about the importance of having a good sheriff that upholds the Constitution. Well, in order to uphold the Constitution, you need to know the Constitution. But that's the problem with the sheriffs. They're locally elected by the same fraudulent system. So you can get idiots instilled into office. Just like what happens at the federal level and at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, at the school board level, at the sheriff's level. All these elections are taken and controlled. And then you get this stuff that's imported in there that is selected to be in charge. I represent the Constitution of America. Mecklenburg County. I believe the last one, judicial. What? What? How long you been in law enforcement, sir? You're a sheriff. You got to be in law enforcement. I'd have to say at least 15, 20 years at that point. You got to know, buddy. But like, this is what we have as Americans. We got like, damn, this guy's going to enforce law. He doesn't even know what he's got. He's going to judge the law. He's going to judge the law as the sheriff. Woo! My Lord. And then you have Gene Wu, the minority leader of the Democrats in the Texas House. Now, this is a clip from last year, but you got to listen to how this guy talks. Play cut 3.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about.
You hear that, numbnuts? You hear that, jack off? Who's the oppressor? Who did he not name? White people. Take over this country. Do what's right for the people. What does that mean exactly? Let's dissect that language. And what does that exactly mean there, Mr. Wu? What does that mean? What have us white people today, what have we oppressed you? Who have I oppressed? I've been oppressed by you. I've been oppressed by your ideas. I've been oppressed by your Communist Party. I've been oppressed by this state out here. I've been oppressed by this judicial branch out here. Who are you talking about, sir? Who are the oppressors? But they're telling you how they view us, how they view white people. They're going to unleash hell on us when they come back. I'm sorry, that's what it is. I don't like to believe that, but it's the reality. They don't like white people. 2020 to 2024 was the test run. The gas to the floor, pedal to the metal is the next round. They're not hiding it. They're going to go after ICE agents. They're going to go after anyone that supported ICE. I guarantee it. You're going to see arrests of federal agents all over this country when we lose power. Then they're going to start going after white people, whether it's online for what you say, whether it's your bank account, your job, right? Because there's disdain for white Christians in America. It's the truth. There is disdain for white Christian males, specifically, I'll say it, alpha males, ones that are outspoken, ones that call bullshit where it is. There is an utter disdain for those types of people. Back in the day in America, those people were loved by society. They were considered heroes because they stood on principles. So if you have principles, they're going to come after you. If you believe that this country is great, you believe anyone can succeed in this country, regardless of race, if you believe in a God and you believe in having a family, you are their number one enemy because you go against what they want, which is government control over everything. And I'll be damned if I'm giving up my family control. I'll be damned if I'm giving up my kid to this government. I'll be damned if I'm giving up my kid to the mentality of this bullshit that is coming from the other side, that is rotting this country to the core. But because I am vowing this and because I'm going to raise my kid that way, you know what that's actually going to wind up doing? That's going to put a target on my kid's back. That's how corrupt and that's how sick the communists are. Because my kid will not be beaten down into this political brainwashing bullshit. I refuse to turn my kid over to this nonsense. I refuse to turn my family over to this nonsense. Because believing and working hard allowed me to achieve something in my life. Something I never thought actually possible because I grew up dirt poor. I mean, I grew up poor, okay? And I worked my way up. I didn't get handouts. I didn't get a cell phone because I was poor. We didn't get free rent because I was poor. You know what we got? We got food stamps, and then we got a couple of cars repoed because my mom couldn't make payments. Okay? And then I got lucky enough to get asked to go to a Catholic high school, but they didn't have money for me to go. They just wanted me to go to play for baseball for them. So I did. But my mom had to come up with money for me to go to Catholic high school, so my mom borrowed. Because there was nothing, that's what we had to do. And what happened, we wound up losing our car my first year in college because the bills from high school piled up and I had no idea. But we worked through it and we rose up and I rose up and I got a better education, got a master's degree, got a teaching job, right? Got an administrative job, making 6 figures. And then all that got taken away from me because I love this country. That's what they do to you. Okay? I know firsthand those pieces of trash and what they do and how they act. And they do it in the shadows too. They don't have the balls or the guts or the legal authority to do it to your face. So they do everything in the shadows behind your back and then, okay, think about what happened to the guy Phil that we played the video on from Pennsylvania earlier this week. He lost his house and he hasn't been able to step foot in a courtroom. Okay? Who does the system favor? Not us. Not us regular Americans, not us regular USA all the way type, not anymore. The system got flipped on its head. And if this system doesn't get reverted back, the system will continue to get flipped on its head until we are decimated. When I say decimated, I'm talking about the Americans that love this country and that are patriots. We will get decimated. Okay, and it will lead to bloodbaths because I know you guys watching this, you will not allow that happen. You will not go down easy. So I know there will be weapons drawn and things will happen from there. But that is something we should strongly think about, where this is all heading and what we need to do to prevent it. That's why I say burn it all down. Trump, if you got mass arrests that are going to happen, do it. Because if you don't do it, they're going to do it to us, plain and simple, because they don't give a shit. They don't care, right? And then you have judges, you have the judicial rot that's going on that allows squatters to take over homes, judges that don't listen to verdicts from juries and actually like figure out kind of how I'm going to sentence this guy because I think he could still be saved even though everyone over here thinks he's 100% guilty. He called me a bitch during trial, but I could still think I could save this young man. This is all going on, everyone. This is all going on. All while Pam Bondi's yelling and up there. Who cares? Who cares? Because no one's doing shit up there. But the stuff down here at the street level hits us in the face every day. Check out this story from Maryland about Tamika Good and how she's rocking a $2.3 million home that she never bought.
Get out my face.
Ma'am, why are you in a $2.5 million property?
After months of delays, Good was convicted on all counts on January 22nd, sentenced to 90 days in prison. Pollard continues to face extradition for multiple vehicle theft-related crimes in Pennsylvania. 11 days later, Good was released on appeal on February 2nd after posting a $5,000 cash bond. Activities at the house started again soon after her release. For days, a woman wearing similar shoes and green pants was seen moving in and out of the alleged Bethesda squatter home. We spoke with Alex Webster about his client.
Look, there's a question. It's really the number one question on everybody's mind. How would your client, Ms. Tamika Good, get inside a $2.3 million property?
Cut. I don't know if I can answer that. Allegedly. Can I cut?
Yeah, defeat on his face.
We're rolling, my friend. Yeah.
How can I get out of this? What can I say here?
All right, can you re-ask the question? Sure, absolutely. So the number one question on everybody's mind is how your client, Ms. Tamika Good, got into a $2.3 million property.
Well, Ms. Good did her research. She found out that a certain property was under the control of a certain group. and that there was a title issue. Due to the title issue, she was able to assume the property under squatters' rights.
So in Maryland, there isn't a particular squatter right. Am I missing something?
Well, it's not a particular squatter's right, but it's known as squatter rights.
Do you believe that garbage? But look at that. She learned how to scheme the system. She found a way that this house is 2.3 mil. I could weasel my way in there, and no one's going to kick me out because I have squatters' rights. That's an amazing thing. By the way, where do squatter rights happen? Oh, yeah. Blue cities, blue states, mostly. Yeah. Another way to add chaos to the system and to hurt the just regular Joe, right? Yeah, I know regular Joe doesn't owe a $2.8 million house, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's the principle of it. That's a $2.8 million house that someone owns that her ass should not be living in, but it is. And her lawyer knows it, right? But that's how these scumbag works. That's how these lawyers work that represent guilty parties. Can we cut, right? He needed time to think, right? That's why all these defense attorneys, they don't need time to think. They just run the clock by following motions against people that actually have the goods on them. Right, Creek? Just file motions to run the clock, wear it out. You know you're caught, but you know what? We're going to just, I need some time here. So the lawyers, I need some time. I need to come up with something. And that's what you guys do as lawyers, right? Like, not when, you're not dumb enough to give an interview like that, number one, but, you know, behind the scenes, like, oh, shit, yeah, my client's screwed. My client really acted unethical. My client really should be paying a shit ton of money out to people. I need an extra time to think about it. I need a petition for a month. That's what they do. Because they know they're screwed. He knows his client is screwed. He knows he didn't have a good answer. And you just saw it play out in live time on the interview. Kudos to the reporter for not laughing. I don't know if I would be able to, as good as he was, man. That dude kept a straight face, stayed true, stayed professional, followed up with the same question again. Good for him. That's called accountability. Good for that reporter right there. He'll probably get fired in a couple weeks. But good for him staying tuned and making him answer. But then you hear the shady answer of the lawyer on how his client came into possession of a $2.3 million home. The American legal system, right? You should be allowed to go into that house, pull her out by her hair, and throw her ass on the corner. End of story. Like, you should be allowed to do this shit. This whole squatters' rights thing and known as, oh, it's not written as law, but it's known as squatters' rights. Bullshit. Do you own the property? No. Get your ass out. End of story. But it doesn't happen. It happens all over this place. People go on extended vacations. They come home. Someone owns their house. It's nuts. Squatters' rights. They gotta have warmth and running water too. Oh, but they pay the bill? No, I'm still paying the mortgage and they live in my house. Holy shit. America 2026. But guess whose policies do this? What side's policies do all of this? Not ours. Just saying. And check out this last judge clip. This judge, this story, whew, this should get your blood boiling.
But Judge Davis thought the jury's recommendation was too long. She feels he hasn't mentally matured yet and never had a real shot at getting any help early in life.
But if you were to come in here and instead of being hurt and angry, which is what this court hears, right, as a 20-year-old African-American male that has been, experienced this society, etc., and you would show that, yes, okay, this is the situation, this is who I am. I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want to be in jail for forever.
Thompson repeatedly stated he did not care, not about his sentence, the victim, or her family. But Judge Davis emphasized she's the one that holds the pen, and regardless of what the media may think, she applies the law. To her, 65 years was an extremely long time. As she puts it, it's his whole life, one she doesn't believe should be spent entirely behind bars.
This court does not believe that Mr. Thompson, if given the resources that he can get while incarcerated, is beyond being rehabilitated.
Activist judges need to go. Okay, this guy was 20 years old. He had a 65-year sentence for raping and kidnapping. He's a rapist kidnapper. And she decided she needed to reduce his sentence in half because she just felt bad for him. So he gets to be out in the streets in 30 years. So when he's 50, so he gets 30 years to harden up in jail, I'm sure, and then come out and reoffend, right? But this is what these activist judges do. And until activist judges are held accountable for the harm that they cause to the American people on the streets, this system will keep turning and turning and turning this way until all of us Americans are victims to it. Okay? That's just a short, or one of our family members are victims to it, one of our friends are victims to it, where someone that should have been in jail wasn't because of this system and then harmed someone we loved. The numbers are too great where it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm sorry I'm saying this, and I'm sorry if you're impacted by this, but I'm saying this to the general audience to understand that sooner or later, you or myself are going to be directly impacted, if we haven't been yet, by decisions by these activist judges who are supposed to be the ones that hold the line for us. Their line now is to crush us. Their line is to actually make the Americans hurt, because apparently we have caused so much pain to other people that we've never met before in our lives. That's what's going on in America 2026. That's why it needs to be burnt down. So Trump, you got to do it, buddy, because if you don't do it, they're going to do it to us. And I'd rather win than lose graciously, as Joe said. I'd rather win ugly than lose graciously, I believe was the exact phrasing they said yesterday. And I 100% agree with that. I'd rather win than lose. And I know if we don't win during your term, Trump, we will lose in the next one. I hope you have a catch-all. I hope it's going to happen, because if it doesn't, we're going to be feeling it later. Oof. Well, that's basically the show today, everyone. I hope you got some news. I hope you got some intel. I hope you had some laughs. But yeah, that's where we are. And just that was just a lot for me. that was action-packed. But I'm going to pray us out. Excuse me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for the opportunity to host this podcast for Joe today. Thank you, Lord, for my family and just the opportunity to wake up every day and see them. Hey, Grandma, Grandpa, Dad, hope you're watching down and proud of the work I'm doing and watching over our family. Miss you guys. During this time, please look over Mom. Mom needs some guidance right now and some strength, so please guide her in making some good decisions and getting her strength back. And I just want to end it with an Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Tomorrow we should have a banger of an episode. We have a special guest. You just got to tune in tomorrow to see who it is. Until then, take care, everyone.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, Dominion's deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Argentina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night, restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms stolen votes cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rising, watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud. We'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise. Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann. Rise up, untamed. In the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave